Hi everyone, it's Erin Vasquez here, coming at you to talk about some things that I'm seeing go on in the zeitgeist. And I know that a lot of you come to me, like, especially if you're in the creative industries, a lot of you come to me or write me or tweet me saying that you're feeling really stuck and really discouraged in a lot of ways. And it's not an uncommon thing. And a lot of the stuckness and discouragement comes from being afraid to really let yourself shine, to really let yourself be heard, and to just go and put yourself out there. And as a creative visionary, that's literally what you're built to do, to find that intersection between purpose and prosperity that I want to help people get to, that I was able to get to myself once I got over this thing that I'm about to illustrate using an anecdote of Kanye, actually. Then there was a certain freedom, and that's what you need as a creative, is that you need really expansive freedom. But guess what? You're going to have to grant it to yourself, because this is what's happening. This could go a couple of different ways. And what really got me thinking about this was a couple of weeks ago. I'm recording this in mid-May of 2018. So a couple of weeks ago, there was a Kanye Twitterversy, or whatever it is, some kind of controversy with Kanye, where he was tweeting a bunch of things online. And what was happening was, first of all, he tweeted a Make America Great Again hat signed by Donald Trump. He was talking about, universal love and connection and everything. All of these things, it doesn't matter what the content was. What matters is the effect. And the effect was that Twitter went bananas, absolutely bananas. There were other fellow artists saying that this was the darkest day on Twitter. There were fellow artists, like, I think John Legend reached out to Kanye to say, hey man, like, you can't be, you're too influential. Don't be supporting Trump or anything like that. Other people were lamenting the days back when Kanye was a huge Obama supporter. And it was just this whole thing where everyone completely blew up. And it doesn't matter. Like, he was talking about mental slavery. So it was really, really controversial. And the content really doesn't matter. What I see is relevant to people who are creative and looking to really put themselves out there was that Kanye was basically, his mental health was called into question. He was lambasted by his peers, and he was really, really put down. So Kanye has a certain level of success, and he's going to have a certain amount of resources to go ahead and come out and do whatever he really wants to. So what of people who are just getting started, or who might only have, 10,000 followers on Twitter, or 1,000 follows on Twitter, or, are worried that they need to, like, please absolutely everybody and not have a unique point of view, or that there's going to be some calling of their sanity if they put something out there that doesn't necessarily make sense to the masses. That's the whole thing. Like, people wanted to categorize Kanye because he's African American. He shouldn't be supporting Trump, all of this stuff. When he was talking about slavery of the mind, it's a concept that I'm not going to get into too much, but a lot of people were saying there was all this stuff about slavery, and Kanye, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is, I was watching this and I was thinking about some of my clients who are like, when we first start working together, they're like, how am I going to come out and say this? What are people going to think? How do I do this in a really genuine way? And there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of hesitance. There's a lot of resistance. But the thing is that you're an artist, or you're a musician, or you're a writer, and you have a very unique point of view. You have something inside of you that is literally nowhere else, right? Say what you will about Kanye, but he's been very innovative with his music, correct? So So you have this thing that's inside of you, and there might be a genuine fear of what people will think, because on these very public forums, people who are really successful and have proven themselves to be really good at what they do are being lambasted, are being called mentally ill, are being called bipolar, are being called traitors to their own kind. So, what's going to happen to other people? That's really scary to be that visible, right? So, here's what I want you to really be aware of. First of all, that it's happening. And when you have a unique point of view, when you have something really special that hasn't been done before, that it's it's going to happen. I think it's Cat Williams that says, if you only have 20 haters right now, you need to go out and get yourself 30 because otherwise you're just trying to please everyone, and that's not going to be. You need to let yourself shine so that the people that really need your genuine, authentic self in their lives, just let it in. And then the other people who aren't okay with that, that's their stuff. And I'll get into that in a future video. But here's another thing. This is not only indicative of like, hey, like you do something that's truly genuine to you. Okay, so the haters are going to happen. It's just going to happen. But here's another thing, that I don't want you to get caught up in this mind trap, this mental trap that everyone else is caught up in, of either or, right? So a lot of people were saying of Kanye, like, this isn't the work of a creative genius. This is the work of someone who's currently experiencing a state of mania. I'm not qualified, and I'm not trying to say whether, like, comments on his mental health or his mental state in one way or another. What I am here to comment on is that it's incredibly dangerous to say that just because someone is in a state of mania, that it means that he can't also be in a state of complete genius. It becomes mutually exclusive. It means that you can't have both, and that there's only two options and two camps. And this can be done in politics, in arguments. It doesn't matter, like left, right, black, white, right, wrong, when really what that's doing is telling you that there's only two different options. The most obvious example is politics. So think about it. No matter how you voted this last presidential election, it's no secret that in 2018, our nation is really divided. It's a divisive kind of like state. I come from a really, really liberal family, and I live in a military household with a couple of different like opinions, not necessarily pro or against anything, but I've been forced to see things like from a very different point of view. There's multiple points of view. If you think about it, everyone's coming to the table with their own experiences, their own opinions, and guess what? They're just as valid as yours. And when we say that you're either with us or against us, or you're mentally well or you're mentally ill, you're a genius or you're manic, you're actually excluding all kinds of different possibilities. And that's sort of what social media is training us to do right now, is to stay in this binary mode of thinking. And when we're in that binary mode of thinking, we're being really well trained to stay distracted from what's really going on inside here. Now, when we're distracted from what's going on inside here, then how can we really connect with our true essence and our true power of how we want to create and show up in the world and really shine bright? So the binary thinking, the arguing, the going back and forth and pointing the fingers and thinking that there's only two options, right? For any situation, when there's really infinite options for every situation, it's actually going to keep you limited. It's going to keep you small, right? So look for the other options and be careful when people are trying to put you into that trap of for or against, and understand that there's so much more than that. And once you realize that there's so much more than that, that's when you can be really shining bright and acting in a way that's so much more powerful than you're currently acting, which is what you want, right? Like that's what you were meant for. So this is a discussion that could go on forever and ever, and I probably will run a couple of workshops on this. It's basically about binary thinking. It's about being true to yourself. It's about being persecuted when you have a truth to say. It's about being persecuted by other people who aren't bad. They just are really quick to fall into these categorizations of thought that are keeping us really small, that are keeping us really scared, that are keeping us really separated, when really, as creatives, as artists, as humans, we're here to like really connect and create a dialogue. So just start noticing it, like right or wrong, left or right, whatever it is, right? And start recognizing maybe a couple of different ways where you might be getting into that trap. I know I still do it all the time, but the awareness and the ability to rise above just the two different ways of doing it leaves so much more room for connection, which is what we're all here for. Hey, please, 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 if you enjoyed this, subscribe to my channel. It's going to be lots more good stuff about ways to increase your creative mindset, a lot more good stuff about the business of artistry. I have a couple of people coming up to talk about their experiences with the coaching techniques that I use. So go ahead, subscribe right now, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.